So people are reportedly walking out on test screenings of Aquaman 2. That's right, with the movie being reported as terrible. You see that word right there? Terrible. I mean, that's not something that you want discussed with your movie at all. Now, in addition to people walking out saying it's boring, it's one of the worst DCEU movies, yet there are reports that a certain Aquaman starlet has 20 minutes in this movie. 20 minutes, yeah. So Peter Safran and James Wan, they decided to double and triple down. They decided that they knew what was best. You remember the last time they said that? Oh, it tanked another franchise. Bravo. Bravo. Now, this is bad for the movie right now. We are talking about really, really bad, considering we're talking about a movie with a staggering $205 million already in, reports of no reshoots being authorized anymore. So these issues that people are walking out on, yeah, they can't fix it without dumping more money in. Warner Brothers is saying, nah, we're not going to do that anymore at all. Now, you don't have to take my word or the mainstream's word on this either. You have film critics sounding off on this. You can see the credentials right here telling you this, it's terrible. They're hearing about just how bad it is. That's why Jason Momoa, he has his bell out right now. You and I, we're going to cover this today. Oh man, crazy times, huh? Crazy times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. Man, the headlines for Aquaman right now, they are bad. I mean, if you look at this here, worrying news from screenings, reportedly not going over well. Terrible movie. This is why Jason Momoa is quitting and on. Yeah, these are the type of headlines you just don't want. Now, what's interesting is how this starts out as rumor. Before you have reports that pick up with it, you have this initially come out. I'll be honest, we're half a dozen test screenings into Aquaman 2, and it's not looking great. I've consistently heard over the last year or so that it is boring. I mean, that is a terrible thing for an Aquaman. It is supposed to be action-oriented, not as good as the first. I mean, a sequel, yeah, you want a franchise to continue, it needs to have that pace or better, and potentially one of the worst DCEU movies. I mean, that's bad considering how terrible some of those movies have been. Now, what's interesting is how this doesn't just sit as a random opinion. In fact, many sources, they sound off on this. Many of them that want the DCEU to succeed, they love Aquaman as well, and they're not only telling you that the movie, it's bad, in fact, one of the worst movies, but that there's something happening, something that almost never does, and we'll discuss what that is. But listen to this, quote, "There's a reason I've been avoiding any questions about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, but since Viewer Anon put it out there, it brings me no joy to back him up and tell you that the test screenings for this movie have not been good. Really hope James Wan fixes this movie before December." Yeah, I don't see that happening, not at all. I heard that something that almost never happened in test screenings happened with this movie. That's not good either. That's not good to associate with it. They're really going to need to fix this one and fix it fast. Now, you can pretty much guess what that means. Something that almost never happens in test screenings happens with that movie. I mean, you have plenty of people asking things like, obviously, I'm not asking what happened, but hypothetically, what if something that almost never happens at test screenings? Yeah, you know what happens? People end up walking out. And that's the problem. It's being reported all over the place that people, they are walking out on this film. I mean, think about how bad that has to be, that screeners, the first people that are allowed to see this, say, yeah, you know what? I don't want to waste my time sitting in this free showing of Aquaman 2. Now, this ends up being confirmed by other folks as well. And not only is this discussion confirmed, but it goes into that other subject that we've been talking about for a while, Jason Momoa and Lobo. I mean, it makes everything make sense. Here, you have reporter. Not only do you have a reporter, you have an editor, film critic, and columnist. You can see, I mean, they're quite known here. Almost 40,000 followers for what they've been saying. They tell you, they hear that this movie is terrible. That's what I'm hearing all over the place too, not just from this, but I've heard multiple times this thing isn't good. I've been saying it for a while now, and that's why Momoa is going to be Lobo going forward, and that makes 100% sense. I mean, you're talking about a guy that didn't tank this franchise. He did everything in his power to help out with it, so yeah, they're going to salvage him from it. But they can't say that yet, of course. I mean, if they say that, what'll happen? This is going to be a lame duck, and of course that's what would be. I mean, if they confirmed, hey, we're going to pull him out of this, there would be excitement for a new character, but they would be telling you the franchise is done, and DC is hoping to wring another $1 billion out of the box office. Yeah, good luck with that. This person too tells you, you know what? I thought the first one was awful, so that's not a huge surprise. And when you take that with other news that has come out, news about inflated budgets, news about old management versus new management, yeah, this doesn't say anything good about the movie at all. I mean, listen to this. This came out from Variety. Quote, two sources, they tell Variety that before James Gunn and Peter Safran took the reins at DC, Warner Brothers co-chief Pam Abdi had to tell Aquaman 2 director James Wan to reduce his reshoot budget for the Maritime sequel, which is already expanded to $205 million over production. Any further tweaks to any of the 2023 movies as to fully incorporate them into the new DC could easily cost millions more. And here's something that is never discussed in this, but I think should be discussed, and that's the fact that Warner Brothers, they don't have the money on hand to fix these issues. They don't have millions of dollars that they can throw at any problem right now, plus they don't have the $200 million plus that it's going to cost to advertise and try to remedy all of the negative press around this. You can see David Zaslav, that's the CEO of Warner Brothers, telling you right now we're losing billions, and our top priority at Warner Brothers Discovery, that's to get the cash flowing again. And it's interesting. I mean, they keep that 20 minutes of a certain Aquaman starlet in. Maybe they can't afford to take her out. Maybe they shill for her. I know the director and the executive producer that is now in charge, they were always about keeping her on. Yeah, give more people a reason to walk out from a movie they're reportedly already doing so on. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. As always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. Oh man, I mean, this is going to be fun to watch too. Links are in the description. Check those out if you want. Share this sucker everywhere. Let people know what's going on, and appreciate you. Gonna end here thanking you again.